Hi, I'm Peter Matthews with Firehouse.com. We're here in Baltimore at one of the sites for the hands-on training program for this year's Firehouse Expo. Behind us you have a set of row frames lining the street, and the firefighters have numerous opportunities today to go through a series of engine company and truck company operations as well as rapid intervention operations. We'll move on in a little bit to a site with hands-on training for University of Extrication with Ron Moore, and at the Montgomery County Fire Academy, firefighters are also going through an EVOC training class as well as a command competency clinic. We have Captain Mike Dugan from the New York City Fire Department joining us. Mike is running one of the classes. Mike, can you tell us about your session, what the students have come here to learn from you and your team?
Well, what we're doing on this one is we're doing something called coordinated fire attack. And what we are doing is we're having the students with radios communicate an engine and a truck operation and coordinate their fire attacks so that they're keeping their people safer. And we're working together, trying to communicate as we go in and make a push on the fire.
Okay, and the first simulation that you ran was you had smoke coming out of both floors of the row frame. What did they end up encountering once they got inside and kind of had a feel for what was going on?
Well, what they encountered, of course, is it's Hollywood smoke. It's fake smoke. But we have lights in there simulating the fire. But what we had is a basement fire that communicated up to the first floor and to the second floor. They also had a victim in there that they had to remove. So it's just a typical fire operation that took a little bit of time to get into, to find the fire, and the truck in there working to get the fire, and the engine getting a line on the fire.
Okay, and these types of structures, again, here in Baltimore, row frames are very common, but you do have that balloon frame. And throughout your classes, do you realize a lot of firefighters are unfamiliar with their size up as far as having a basement fire where it's extended by the time they arrived, and they are under the impression the fire is on the second floor, and they have to play catch up, and I would assume that's where the coordination, the radio contact and communications are vital.
That's all part of it, and it's also these buildings are very unfamiliar to some of our students who are in smaller volunteer fire departments that work in private dwellings. But fire doesn't change, so maybe the buildings are changing, but the idea of communicating, coordinating, and keeping the attack going together is part of what we're stressing in this whole situation.
And we're still here in Baltimore. We have Jim Crawford, Chief from Pittsburgh. Jim, your class, can you tell us a little bit about it and what the students are going to take away?
Our class is a rapid intervention class. We have it broke down into 6 skill stations. The students are learning how to lower firefighters out of windows, how to do assessment changeovers and drags, and they're also learning lifting operations with airbags in the event a ceiling would collapse. And we're also doing several drills, team drills, like the Pittsburgh drill and the Denver drill.
And can you tell us how you got involved in rapid intervention, and you became really the father of rapid intervention? How did that all come about?
Actually, back in 1995, I had a couple years on with the Pittsburgh Fire Department, and we had a fatal fire where 3 firefighters were killed, and I happened to be on the scene and help with that attempted rescue.
We're still here in Baltimore with Dion Evans from the Compton Fire Department. Dion, I guess we can call him a trade show veteran. This is his second time at Firehouse Expo, and he's also attended our Firehouse World Trade Show in San Diego in the past. So what can you tell me your experiences, East Coast versus West Coast? You've come a long ways. What's the difference between the two trade shows and dealing with these types of structures versus what you have at home?
Well, overall, I think what I've learned between the East and West Coast, the number one thing that dictates our fireground operations is the environment, such as building construction. It's been great. Overall, I think what I've gotten is how to improve our fireground safety and operations. But the difference is how you go about it on the East versus the West. And I think the biggest thing is building construction. We don't have row houses in, my first in district in most of the places in our city. So the things that I've learned here and abroad has helped me out tremendously because it's all about options and getting out alive,
And when you go home back to Compton, you sit around the firehouse, and do you talk with the guys about what you've learned here, and do you apply this training to the training back home?
Absolutely not. I keep it all to myself.
All right, cool.
I can't believe the amount of time that the instructors put into it, because what I'm impressed with is their dedication to putting this on, and making sure that this information gets passed on to guys around the country. Unfortunately, we've had to learn a lot from our fallen brothers, and it's like they're teaching us from the grave how to be more effective and safe, and hey, don't make the mistakes I made. And so for those guys that do the research and do their homework is outstanding, and it's just unbelievable the support and resources that they have out here.
The options here, for example, jam doors, patients are protected, medics inside are ready. I could attack the front door, get it open and get it off, and the front door.
Hi, we're out at the Baltimore City Fire Academy, and we're here with Bob Morris, who's doing a class on forcible entry. And just walking around this building where he's got a number of props set up is eye candy. It really is impressive and really makes you think, what could you encounter in your first two areas. So, Bob, can you kind of tell us about what you've got going on today and what the students are going to take home with them?
Sure. We have 3 stations. We have a lock cutting station. We have a variety of padlocks here, and the American 2000 locks, the case hardened padlocks, slide bolts, which the students will have an opportunity to cut these and force these. Over that way, they're working on cutting a roll down gate and some other cutting operations. And down and back, you can hear them. They're working on a conventional forcible entry station, working with the iron. So that's actually, our old time-honored way of forcing doors using the axe and the Halligan. So those are the 3 stations that we got going on here.
Hey, and in your teaching at the expo, what's one of the things that you've probably heard from your students that, wow, that's not something I would expect to see at home, or what do you seem, or what do they see as their biggest challenge when they pull up?
Well, I think the thing I see the most is once we put them through the course, they're pretty confident, and they're surprised at the amount they can do just with the hand tools. With the hand tools, with proper training and some coaching and some experience, they do very well just with the hand tools. And then we bring in all the other power tools and other more high-tech tools to adjunct those tools as well.